Resident Evil is a survival horror game that draws significant influences from several recent survival horror games where you will be tasked with many scenarios in which you will have to fight or flight. Developed by Capcom, they choose to take a bold, risky new take on their beloved franchise by moving away from third-person to first-person, and away from action-adventure seen in the last two numbered installments. You play as Ethan, who receives a message from his wife Mia, who has been missing for 3 years. The messages lead Ethan to a plantation in Dolby, Louisiana, where, as expected, things don't go over very well for Ethan. The plantation is being occupied with an obviously T-virus infected family known as the Bakers, who have supernatural and paranormal attributes. The gameplay is a combination of hide and seek with several members of the Bakers family, first-person gunplay, puzzle solving, and inventory management. As you explore areas of the plantation, you'll be faced with constant pressure from a member of the Baker family who wants nothing more than to see your demise. You'll have to make several choices throughout the game as to whether you should save ammo and sneak past enemies or engage them, risking very limited resources. The story is told in 2 different ways, directly with cutscenes and indirectly with various notes throughout the plantation. The game expects you to largely be confused about what is happening at the plantation until you read the notes scattered around that fill you in on the details slowly as the game progresses. When it comes to visuals, I played this game all the way through on the PS4 Pro, and the visuals are overall very, very impressive. The addition of HDR and 4K truly makes the game come to life. For this review, I played through the game again in 1080p with no HDR, and there was a significant drop in overall visual quality. The game by no means was bad looking, but the game is much darker overall, and many subtle special effects are gone, such as God rays and many of the robust colors that makes a significant difference on the outcome. The story is largely simple, but it was satisfying that many loose ends were tied up, and I personally started to put together many things that led to me discovering a very simple twist before its reveal. If you're looking for an elaborate story, you have come to the wrong place, but if you want a simple story that's almost entirely backed up, except for some typical Resident Evil tropes, you'll be satisfied. The switch to first person was probably the best move they could have made for the franchise. The feeling of absolute panic and dread is real in this game when you know you're being pursued, or the fact that you can't see behind you to see if a pursuer is on your tail. This game has excellent sound design that sometimes had me jump out of my seat more than the jump scares with the Bakers. Additionally, the game uses its limited music at the best times to build up epic tension, making you dread every step of progression you make. That said, this game overall, in my opinion, balances horror excellently. They don't beat you over the head with jump scares and instead opt out for a more suspense building. However, when they do deliver a jump scare, they work pretty flawlessly.
I told you to stay out of here!
This game, for me, has the perfect amount of horror to it. It's not too overwhelming like Outlast or Amnesia. There are clear moments when you are safe, but they do throw in a curveball from time to time, just to keep you on your toes when you think you're safe. The boss fights in Resident Evil 7 are excellent, and are what ultimately define this game as a Resident Evil game. Some of the boss fights are ludicrous and change depending on the actions or choices you make. The enemy variety is very limited in this game, which is a disappointment from a developer that has a laundry list of monsters that has given many generations nightmares. Outside of the Bakers, you have just the molded monsters with 3 to 4 very slight variations to them. The molded AI is not very good either. You can dodge them very easily and cause them to disappear by shutting a door on them that they can't open. Veterans of the franchise who begged for Resident Evil to return to their roots will be extremely satisfied with this installment despite their risky changes. It is extremely unfortunate that sales for this game are unjustifiably low compared to Resident Evil 5 and 6, which will likely send the wrong message to Capcom that gamers want the action-adventure version of Resident Evil instead of true survival horror. I can't express enough how this installment is in fact a traditional Resident Evil game. They incorporate crazy boss fights, purposely quirky dialogue, inventory management, puzzle solving, helplessness, and a significant tension building similar to when you first encountered zombies in Resident Evil 1. If you have wanted a more traditional survival horror Resident Evil game, or want to get in survival horror genre without being beat over the head with cheap jump scares, run out and buy this game right now. Thank you for watching this abstract review, and be sure to stay tuned for a full Scientific Gamer's review of this game, where I will be able to go into much more detail and talk about its PlayStation VR implementation. If you like this video, please share, like, comment, and subscribe for future content. This is Jeremy with the Scientific Gamers. We'll see you next time.